Hello everyone, welcome to Crown Biology classes. This is Rohit Chaudhary. I hope you all are doing good. And in today's lecture, we are going to study the last part, that is class Mammalia, under the main topic Animal Kingdom. So before studying the characteristic features of class Mammalia, let's have a brief introduction of class Mammalia. It includes about 5,000 species which are distributed all over the earth in a wide variety of forms and sizes. They are the most dominant and most successful animals of today. They range from tiny mice to huge whale in size. They are adapted to live in polar ice caps, deserts, dense forests, oceans, dark caves. Some are adapted to fly and some to live in water. Man also belongs to this group. Let's study the characteristic features of class Mammalia. First of all, you should know that all the mammals are included under the class Mammalia. The question that should come into your mind is why the class is named as class Mammalia? What could be the specific reason of naming it as Mammalia? So, this we will be able to know once we will go through the characteristic features one by one. Once we will study the unique characteristic features of the members belonging to class Mammalia. First of all, starting with the first characteristic feature, that is Cenozoic era is golden era of mammals. Cenozoic era is also known as golden age of mammals because following the extinction of dinosaurs, mammals diversified and mammals became the dominant land animals. The next characteristic feature is study of mammals is known as mammalogy. The scientific study of mammals is known as mammalogy, or the branch of zoology concerned with mammals is mammalogy. The next characteristic feature is the members of this class are cosmopolitan. Here you should know the meaning of this term cosmopolitan. That means they are found almost everywhere. As I have already told you in the introductory part, that the members belonging to class Mammalia are adapted to live in polar ice caps, dense forests, mountains, oceans, deserts, and dark caves as well. So they are found almost everywhere. That's why they are cosmopolitan. The next characteristic feature is mammals are warm blooded animals. We do use another term for warm blooded animals, that is endotherms. Warm blooded animals or endotherms are those animals that can maintain a constant internal body temperature regardless of their environment. Earlier, we have studied that birds are also warm blooded animals. So, birds and mammals are the only known living warm blooded animals. The next unique and most important characteristic feature is the most unique mammalian characteristic is the presence of milk producing glands. Milk producing glands are found in the members belonging to class Mammalia, and those milk producing glands are mammary glands. And these mammary glands helps in the production of milk, and that milk will help in nourishing the offsprings. The next characteristic feature is a horizontal diaphragm is present in between thorax and abdomen of all members. So this diaphragm is a muscular organ and this primarily helps in breathing. Breathing is nothing but exchange of gases. So there are two steps involved in breathing. The first one is inspiration and the second one is expiration. Inspiration is nothing but inhaling and expiration is exhaling. So with the help of this muscular organ, that is diaphragm, breathing occurs. As we can see in the respiratory system of a dog, here lies the diaphragm. So as we can see, this is a muscular organ and due to its contraction and relaxation, the process of breathing takes place. The next characteristic feature is the skin of mammals is unique in possessing hair. So, this is the diagram of mammalian skin. these are the outgrowths present. These outgrowths are nothing but hair. So the skin of mammals is covered with fur or hair. The next characteristic feature is skin of mammals is thick and glandular. Coming back to the diagram again, as we can see, there are two layers of skin, the outer epidermis and the inner thick dermis. This is thin epidermis and this inner layer dermis is thick. And we can see sebaceous gland and sweat glands are also present in the skin. That's why the skin of mammals is thick, because of the presence of two layers of skin, outer epidermis and inner dermis. And why it is glandular? Due to the presence of sebaceous glands and sweat glands. The next characteristic feature is two pairs of limbs are present. The two pairs of limbs are indeed characteristic of most mammals. The first pair of limbs is known as forelimbs. The first pair of limbs is known as forelimbs, also known as front legs, and the second pair of limbs is known as hind limbs. The second pair of limbs is known as hind limbs, also known as back legs. So in total, two pairs of limbs are present, which are essential for locomotion. Let's have a look at this picture of kangaroo. We can see this is the first pair of limbs, that is forelimbs. And this is the second pair of limbs, that is hind limbs. So in total, two pairs of limbs are present, which are essential for locomotion. The next characteristic feature is alimentary canal is complete. Alimentary canal is complete, meaning the alimentary canal, it is a continuous tube that is running from mouth to the anus. There are two separate openings present for ingestion and egestion of food. The opening present for ingestion of food is mouth, and the opening present for egestion of food is anus. As there are two separate openings, mouth and anus, that's why the alimentary canal is said to be complete. The next characteristic feature is, so before discussing the next characteristic features, let's have a look at the alimentary canal of mammals. So this is the digestive system of the dog. As we can see, this is the alimentary canal, as it is a continuous tube which is running from mouth to the anus. It is running from mouth to the anus. Mouth is located here and anus is located here. So this is the opening for ingestion and this is the opening for egestion. So there are two openings present, one for ingestion and the second for egestion. That's why the alimentary canal is said to be complete. The next characteristic feature is teeth are thecodont, heterodont and mostly diphyodont. So one by one we will be understanding the meaning of all these three terms, starting with the first term, that is thecodont. Thecodont teeth are a type of dental structure in which the teeth are deeply embedded in the sockets of the jawbone. I repeat, the teeth are deeply embedded in the sockets of the jawbone. So this will be more clear to you when you will look at the diagram of thecodont teeth. So let's have a look at the diagram of thecodont teeth. As we can see, this is the teeth and this is the socket of jawbone in which the teeth is embedded. As you can see, this teeth is deeply embedded in the socket of the jawbone and this is the jawbone. So this is about thecodont teeth. The next term is heterodont teeth. To understand this, let's take our example, the example of human beings. In case of human beings, there are different types of teeth present, such as incisors, canines, molars and premolars. And these all are involved in performing different functions. So these incisors, they will help in cutting. Canines will help in tearing. Molars and premolars will help in grinding and chewing. So there are different types of teeth present and hence the term heterodont teeth. The last term is diphyodont teeth. Let's take our example again, the example of human beings. In our case, there are two successive sets of teeth present during the lifetime. The first one is milk teeth or the primary teeth, also known as deciduous teeth. And the second one is permanent teeth or the adult teeth. The milk teeth are replaced by the permanent teeth, and hence the term diphyodont. The next characteristic feature is respiration is by one pair of lungs. So lungs are the organs which are involved in exchange of gases. As we can see, these are the lungs of a cat, and these lungs will help in exchange of gases. So we will be discussing about the mechanism in human physiology in the chapter breathing and exchange of gases. The next characteristic feature is larynx or sound organ is found. In case of mammals, the voice producing organ is larynx. But we have studied in case of birds, although larynx is present in them, but that is not acting as a voice producing organ. Rather, syrinx is acting as a voice producing organ in case of birds. So let's have a look at the larynx of this cat. So this is the position of larynx. Here the larynx is located. Larynx is the enlarged portion of trachea. So this is trachea and this larynx is the enlarged portion of trachea. The next characteristic feature is the heart is four-chambered, sinus venosus is absent, the red blood corpuscles are without nucleus. So we will understand the meaning of each and every line. Starting with first, the heart is four-chambered. So this is the heart of mammals. If we do look at the heart anatomy, we can see the first chamber, that is right atrium, the second chamber, that is left atrium, the third chamber, that is right ventricle, and the fourth chamber, that is left ventricle. So in total, how many chambers are present in mammalian heart? Four chambers are present, two atria and two ventricles. So there are four chambers present so that mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood do not occur. The next one is sinus venosus is absent. So this sinus venosus is the first chamber, and this is the first chamber present in lower animals like reptiles, amphibians and frog. So this is the first chamber and it will pouring the blood into right atrium. But in case of mammals, this will be absent. So right atrium will be the first chamber that will be receiving the blood in case of mammals. And the next point is the red blood corpuscles are without nucleus. In mature red blood cells, nucleus is not present to maximize the space for hemoglobin. And hemoglobin is the protein that is responsible for oxygen transport. Moreover, we know the shape of red blood cells is biconcave because of absence of organelles in red blood cell. The next characteristic features of the members belonging to class Mammalia is the skull is dicondylic. The skull connects with the vertebral column. And to specifically which part of the vertebral column the skull is connected with? The first vertebra, that is known as atlas. The skull is connected with the first vertebra of the vertebral column, that is atlas, through two occipital condyles. Through how many occipital condyles? Two occipital condyles. And hence the term dicondylic. Here di stands for two. Again, I am repeating, the skull connects with the first vertebra of the vertebral column, that is called atlas, through two occipital condyle, and hence the term dicondylic skull. This dicondylic skull, it provides articulation for greater range of head movement. If we recall, we have studied in lower animals such as reptiles and birds, the skull is monocondylic. There also, the skull is connected with vertebral column but through only single occipital condyle. The next characteristic feature is neck is having 7 cervical vertebrae. So these cervical vertebrae, they support the weight of the head. And these cervical vertebrae, they allows for a wide range of neck movement. So this is the picture of cervical vertebrae. As we can see, how many cervical vertebrae are present? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So there are 7 cervical vertebrae present and they will support the weight of the head. The next characteristic feature is one pair of metanephric kidneys are situated in abdominal cavity. So these metanephric kidneys are one of the types of kidneys found in vertebrates, and these are the most advanced and the functional kidneys found in case of amniotes such as reptiles, birds and mammals. The diagram represents the evolutionary stages in the development of the excretory system. So there are 3 different kinds of kidneys found in vertebrates. The first one is pronephros, the second one is mesonephros, and the third one is metanephros. So starting with the pronephros, this is the most primitive kidney found in vertebrates, and this kidney is found in some early fishes and amphibians. Pronephros is not the definitive kidney in most vertebrates. Then comes advanced kidney, mesonephros. If we do compare both of these kidneys, then obviously this mesonephros is advanced, and this mesonephros is the functional kidney in case of fishes and amphibians, and it also acts as a temporary kidney during the embryonic development of higher animals such as reptiles, birds and mammals. Then comes metanephros. It is the most advanced, permanent and functional kidney found in higher animals such as reptile, birds and mammals. The next important characteristic feature is the brain has large cerebrum and cerebellum. The brain has 3 main important parts. The first one is cerebrum, the second one is cerebellum, and the third one is brainstem. So all these parts will be more clear to you when we look at the diagram of the structure of the mammalian brain. So this is the structure of the mammalian brain. As we can see, this is cerebrum. The cerebrum is the largest part of the brain and it is located at the top and front of the skull. Then comes cerebellum. So this cerebellum is located underneath the cerebrum. As we can see, this is located underneath the cerebrum and it is located behind the ears. And the third part is brainstem. So starting with the functions of cerebrum, cerebrum is involved in higher level functions such as interpreting touch, hearing, vision, emotions, learning, and fine control of movement. The functions of cerebellum are: it plays a crucial role in coordinating the muscle movements and helps in maintaining posture and balance. The next characteristic feature is a special structure is present for the connection of both the cerebral hemispheres of brain, that is called corpus callosum. So let's have a look at the corpus callosum. As we can see, this is the left hemisphere and this is the right hemisphere. So these both left and right hemispheres, these are connecting with each other with the help of corpus callosum. So corpus callosum is a band. It is a thick band of nerve fibers which helps in connecting and coordinating the left and the right hemisphere. And this corpus callosum, it is formed of white matter substance and it is containing millions of axons. The next characteristic feature is 12 pairs of cranial nerves are present, and these cranial nerves are responsible for a wide range of sensory and motor functions in head and neck. Let's have a look at the cranial nerves of mammals. So, in total, 12 pairs of cranial nerves are present. So, these are the 12 cranial nerves that are labeled here, and each cranial nerve is present in form of pair. So this is the first cranial nerve, that is olfactory nerve. This is the second cranial nerve, that is optic nerve. This is the third cranial nerve, that is oculomotor nerve. This is the fourth cranial nerve, that is trochlear nerve. This is the fifth cranial nerve, that is trigeminal nerve. This is the sixth cranial nerve, that is abducens nerve. This is the seventh cranial nerve, that is facial nerve. This is the eighth cranial nerve, that is vestibulocochlear nerve. This is the ninth cranial nerve, that is glossopharyngeal nerve. This is the 10th cranial nerve, that is vagus nerve. This is the 11th cranial nerve, that is cranial accessory nerve. And this is the last and 12th cranial nerve, that is hypoglossal nerve. So in total, how many pairs of cranial nerves are present in the members belonging to class Mammalia? 12 pairs of cranial nerves are present, and at this level you don't have to learn the names, simply you have to remember the number of the cranial nerves. The next characteristic feature is external ear is present in the form of ear pinna. This ear pinna is also known as auricle. This ear pinna is also known as auricle, and this auricle is covered by skin and hair or fur. And this auricle is made up of elastic cartilage. Let's have a look at the auricle of a dog. Someone is holding the auricle of a dog here, and this is the auricle or ear pinna. So in total, two auricles will be present, and as you can see, this auricle is covered by skin and hairs, and this auricle is made up of elastic cartilage. Elastic cartilage. The next characteristic feature is malleus, incus, and stapes. These are the three ear ossicles. These are the three small bones present in the middle ear. So, in which part of the ear these ear ossicles will be present? In the middle ear. Let's have a look at the diagram of the ear ossicles. So, this is the diagram of the ear ossicles, also known as auditory ossicles, and this is the first small bone that is located in the middle ear, and this is named as malleus, and it is hammer shaped. As you can see by looking at its structure, it is hammer shaped. Then comes the second small bone located in the middle ear, that is incus. So this is incus and it is anvil shaped. It is anvil shaped. And then comes the third small bone in the middle ear, that is stapes. And this stapes is stirrup shaped. Stapes is stirrup shaped. So you have to remember the names of these ear ossicles along with their shapes. And these ear ossicles, they help in transmitting and amplifying the sound vibrations from the eardrum to the inner ear. The next characteristic feature is mammals are unisexual animals. We do use another term for unisexual animals, that is dioecious. That means they are either male or female. The next point is Testes of males are situated outside the abdominal cavity in the scrotal sacs. So, why the testes are situated outside the abdominal cavity in the scrotal sacs? Because for the formation of sperms, the temperature required is somewhat lower than the body temperature. 2 to 3 degrees centigrades lower temperature is required for the production of sperm in case of mammals. That's why the testes are situated outside the abdominal cavity. As we can see, these are the testes of a tiger, and as you can see, these are situated outside the abdominal cavity. The next feature is fertilization is internal. As we know that the fusion of male gamete, that is sperm, and female gamete, egg, it takes place inside the ampulla part of the oviduct. Oviduct is also known as fallopian tube. Hence the fertilization is internal and it takes place in fallopian tubes, also known as oviduct. The next characteristic feature is there are present four embryonic membranes. So these four embryonic membranes, they play a crucial role in supporting and protecting the developing embryo. So the four embryonic membranes are chorion, amnion, allantois, and yolk sac. So we will be studying the functions of each and every embryonic membrane one by one. So this is the diagram which is showing the four embryonic membranes. This one is first embryonic membrane and this is amnion. This amnion provides a fluid-like environment to the embryo and it helps in protecting the embryo from shocks. The second one is chorion. This chorion helps in gaseous exchange and it provides protection as well. The third one is allantois. This allantois aids in waste disposal and gas exchange. And the fourth embryonic membrane is yolk sac. It provides nutrients to the embryo. The next characteristic feature is embryo is attached with the uterus of mother by placenta in higher mammals. As you know, during pregnancy, the placenta is a vital organ that is formed inside the uterus, and through this placenta, exchange of nutrients and oxygen takes place. So this placenta, it is acting as a connection between the fetus and the mother. The removal of the waste products also takes place through placenta. So during pregnancy, placenta also releases some hormones. So these animals are called placental animals. The next characteristic feature is mostly mammals are viviparous. Viviparous mammals are those mammals which give birth to the young ones directly. And some mammals are oviparous. Some mammals are oviparous as well. Oviparous mammals are those mammals which produce young ones by means of eggs. The next feature is parental care is well developed. The parental care is well developed as if we take our case as well. So in case of humans too, parental care is well developed and it helps in the survival of the offspring. The examples are most important as per NEET exam point of view. The example of oviparous mammal is Ornithorhynchus. Ornithorhynchus, it is commonly known as platypus. There is another oviparous mammal that is Echidna. And this Echidna is commonly known as spiny anteater. The examples of viviparous mammals are Macropus, commonly known as kangaroo, Pteropus, commonly known as flying fox, Camelus, commonly known as camel, Macaca, commonly known as monkey, Rattus, commonly known as rat, Canis, commonly known as dog, Felis, commonly known as cat, Elephas, commonly known as elephant, Equus, commonly known as horse, Delphinus, commonly known as common dolphin, Blenoptera, commonly known as blue whale, Panthera tigris, commonly known as tiger, Panthera leo, commonly known as lion. So, all these are the zoological names or the scientific names of the oviparous and viviparous mammals. Let's have a look at the pictures of the examples of oviparous mammals and viviparous mammals that we have just studied. So this is Ornithorhynchus, commonly known as platypus, and this is Echidna, commonly known as spiny anteater. So these are the only two oviparous mammals. This is Macropus, commonly known as kangaroo. This is Pteropus, commonly known as flying fox. This is Camellus, commonly known as camel. This is Macaca, commonly known as monkey. This is Rattus, commonly known as rat. This is Canis, commonly known as dog. This is Felis, commonly known as cat. This is Elephas, commonly known as elephant. This is Equus, commonly known as horse. This is Delphinus, commonly known as common dolphin. This is Blenoptera, commonly known as blue whale. This is Panthera tigris, commonly known as tiger. And this last one is Panthera leo, commonly known as lion.